If you're a fan of the Sly Guy podcast and would like to support us in progressing the podcast to help us to help you, head on over to patreon.com/Sly Guy podcast. There's a load of bonus content. We have a bonus weekly podcast that comes out every Monday. We have a bonus podcast series, Serial Killing It, with the bonus podcast series, The Dog Walks with Davey. And as well as that, we have additional content coming out soon following the finishing of the Champions League of Weird, which is going to be done so soon. So if you want to support the podcast, help us develop it, get some more equipment, other bits and bobs, whatever else, pay for my drug habit that I keep under wraps, get over to patreon.com. Enjoy the show.
I'm the Sly Guy.
Nice t-shirt, Michael.
It's not Michael Myers, it's me. Oh no. It was me all along. Did you fall for that? Did anyone?
Very convincing.
Oh no, I tell you what. I realised actually whenever you mentioned the t-shirt there, probably not an appropriate choice t-shirt for Michael Myers. If for those who don't get it, it's my feminist t-shirt. Because everyone knows I'm the number one feminist guy. So, yeah, and unlike me, a guy that's probably not a number one feminist guy is Michael Myers, who, would you go as far as to say exclusively, you know, really, I mean, there's feminists and there's guys that aren't feminists, then there's guys who actively go out of their way to murder women. Michael Myers is one of those guys, has serious beef with his sister Laurie, doesn't like her. Also had beef, Ben, get on the computer there and find out what Michael Myers' big sister, Judith. See if this is Judith Myers. I'm a nerd. But he had beef. I think he had beef with Judith. I'm going to throw my ring on that and I'm going to say, hey, it was Judith Myers. Am I right?
Laurie
Strode's the wee one. He's the one he's after, but I think Judith was the big one that he killed at the start of the first movie. Some Halloween trivia here, maybe? Or I'll be scundered. Judith Myers, yes. Killed her, boom, feminism, again, anti-feminist guy, and then he's after Laurie. So yeah, Michael Myers, not the number one guy, but welcome to Halloween special. I don't know how my hair looks because I've no way to see it. Hopefully it's sitting okay by pulling that mask on. But yeah, Michael Myers, not a feminist guy. I used to be terrified of him. Probably I was going to say my favourite horror character, but is it like, in today's day and age, is it appropriate to say you've got a favourite guy who kills women? You know, I think that's maybe a bit controversial. So I'd probably say not. But he was the one that scared me the most. He gave me the willies the most. To the point that I genuinely wouldn't sleep on occasion because I would be thinking in my wee weird head that Michael Myers was going to come and get me. Which, as a sort of 12-year-old, 13-year-old, whenever I watched the Halloween film, I rationally believed he could very well be in my back garden. The older I've got, the more I've come to terms with the fact that he probably wouldn't be. You know, in Michael's defence, in credit to Michael Myers where it's due, he had beef with his sister, and that was it. Like, he didn't have any beef with anyone else. He minded his own business, looked after himself, did whatever and when I say looked after himself, the guy was in good shape. Like, that was probably the thing that gave it away, how I'm much fatter than Michael Myers was. Like, for a guy who was stuck in a nut house all his days, he's fairly jacked, and he doesn't run. Like, he doesn't do intense cardio, or Michael Myers. He just kind of ambles. He must do a lot of steps of a day, and you know, maybe whenever he's out of sight, he does sprint, because he's always right behind you. If you notice that when he's chasing you, people are running and sprinting to get away from him, and he always catches up.
Or he has one of those wee foldable bikes.
He could, like one of those Japanese guys, briefcases, so he just sets it down. That would be, I mean, there's Halloween. There's a new Halloween film out. I haven't seen it yet, but I'm going to go and see it soon. If they don't have that, they're missing a trick. Like, that should be something they should do. Show people running away from Michael, and he just walks up behind them and sets down one of those wee briefcases with wheels. Ding, 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 ding. That'd be hilarious. Either that, because in the olden days he was just sprinting, so whenever he got around the corner, he was just fucking bombing it, and then he had to sort of, you know, slow up at the corners, and then look ominous and all around the corner. Alright, mate? But yeah, I was afraid he would come and get me, but without realising Michael Myers' motive was to just get his sister. So, I mean, I don't think he was going to go to himself. Whacked the big sister, didn't like her. She's a bitch, killed her. Don't like the wee sister, which, to be fair, I don't even know if he knew. I don't even know if the wee sister was born when he went into the nut house. I don't know if that's something they thought about, but he came out to get her anyway. So she must have been born, because otherwise he would have just been all, like a real emotional. Like when Michael Myers went to jail, he's about 8 or something. They locked him away. Like that guy Loomis, he was like, listen, have you seen the Halloween movie, Ben?
Yes, but a while ago.
Yeah, well, basically in it, right, there's just a psychiatrist who's obsessed with him, but he says really weird things that when you actually think about, yes, as like the 20-year-old Michael Myers, you go, oh, I could understand this. But see, whenever he was like 6 or whatever, or 8, whenever he killed someone, he's like, and behind those eyes of darkness was pure evil. And he's like, mate, give him a tablet with Peppa Pig on it. Let him go in the corner, watch that, he'll chill out. Let him run about. Tell him, listen, stop walking like a freak, Michael. Go for a wee jog. Stop just doing this weird stomp. Jog. Go jog. Burn off a wee bit of energy, you wee twat. And he'd be alright. So I thought he killed his sister, and then the next thing his mind would be, tell you what I'll do. Hop on a flight, head to Belfast, go get Dave Elliott, murder him. And then when I realised that was the case, I'm like, yeah, I'm not scared of him anymore. I'm not scared. I'm happy. And Michael Myers to me now is just effectively very much an anti-feminist character still, so I don't love him, but just he's a cuddly guy. Maybe that's what Michael needs, just a hug. And I would suggest anyone, if you know Michael Myers, give him a hug. I mean, probably don't, because he would kill you, but in an ideal world, you put your arms around him. It's all good. And speaking of things that are all good, I don't know if the listeners realised from that initial exchange, the producer Ben, the original Snakerat, has got a mic. Now, he's the producer of the show. I'm the star, yet for whatever reason, he turns up this week with his own personal mic and just mics himself up. Why did you decide to do that, mate?
I just thought the podcast was missing something.
Missing something?
Yeah.
Oh, and what you think you're the answer to the problems?
No, but I might help a wee bit.
Might help. All right. Well, that's pretty offensive and hurtful. But yeah, we thought we'd get you a mic, because sometimes you do interfere. I mean, that's the word you use. You interfere in things. Yes, you're the producer. I kind of wish you were a bit like Michael Myers, in the fact that you've been burnt alive. Or other than that, silent. That would do. But no, you've got a mic, and I think it's good, because a lot of people have been saying that sometimes whenever you speak in the podcast, a couple of different things people said. Sometimes people said when you speak in the podcast, they can't really hear what you're saying. I've told them, project. I've said, come around here, speak. If you want to be a big shot, come on this mic, give it some of that. Other people have said, when you speak, they're like, what the fuck is that annoying sound coming from the back of your studio? It sounds like some sort of mole has been hit by a car and is just dying at the side of the road. It's like, because that's what moles sound like. I know what moles look like too. Because they're all blind with their wee fingers and all. That's what you sound like. But welcome anyway to the podcast. I guess now you're kind of like an honorary co-host, aren't you? You fucking nerd.
Yeah, for now anyway.
Yeah. And you're going to get a new Instagram handle. You're going to change it to @the_Snakerat or Snakerat Ben, something like that. You need to change that.
Probably.
Get people following you. See what the Snakerat's all about. Maybe get a podcast one away from the...
Would you produce my podcast?
What would you call it? Snakerat? Just Snakerat podcast?
Yeah.
That'd probably do quite well, yeah. Or if you wanted it to be like, a music one, because I know you're big into your music, nerd. You call it like Snake Rattle and Roll.
I'll just set a camera up in that corner of the room and that'll be my podcast.
I mean, you know what? That's maybe something we could look at down the line, is getting your mug on the podcast. You would have to comb your hair and put on a shirt most nights, but
it's not ideal.
We can get there. Because again, this is part of the process, isn't it? We're trying to keep evolving and improving, and again, especially on Patreon, that's where we're going to kind of in the next number of months get a few side projects, I hope, in the can. Now you're on the mic, you're under pressure now. We need to get those dates to film our wee secret project.
We do. And
you need to also tell me what I need to buy for my other secret project.
The last time I told you to buy, you said it was all very expensive.
Yeah, well, I can try and save up for it, but I'm like, listen, what equipment can you get? And fucking Steven Spielberg over here is like, you could spend 17 grand on a lapel microphone. And I was like, you could spend 17 grand on getting surgery so you can go and fuck yourself. That's what you need to do. But again, that's what we use Patreon funds for, to try and improve things and whatever. Now, I am going to try to do, I have an idea that I'm going to do on Patreon. Again, it's probably like, this is probably a New Year type thing, realistically. But again, if we plan for it, it'll work well. But again, I would like it to be filmed by the end of November. See if it's not filmed by the end of November, I'm going to do to you what Kim Jong-un did to his uncle. I'll kill you with anti-aircraft missiles. So, no pressure. But that's just what will happen. So, I mean, listen, I run a tight regime. I look like I'm the leader of the podcast. I'm the great supreme leader. Maybe that's what we need for the background. Anyone out here who listens to the podcast, I know I have a lot of artistic listeners and people who like to sketch, draw, do graphics. You know, I have some nice cartoons of myself over the years. Maybe I'll get a few there. Be nice. But if somebody can, whether it be through Photoshop or whether it be through, get like a portrait of me to look like I'm a supreme leader of North Korea, I'll do the pose. This is the pose. I actually have 3 pictures of supreme leaders of North Korea in my downstairs toilet at home. Don't worry about it. Kim Il Nam is like this, I believe. He's like, that's great. Then Kim Jong Il is like, and then Kim Jong Un's like. So I think he is probably the least banter out of the three of them. Like, but again, for me, I think I'm probably a less banterful guy. So I'll give my sort of post same as Kim Jong Un. And that's it. But yeah, you know what's weird? Just now I mention it, it's the Halloween podcast, but also all I can smell now is kind of like condoms.
Right.
Which I assume is due to the Michael Myers latex rubber. Otherwise, there's condoms in the room, which, as I know, as 2 guys with kids, probably not big fans of said sheets. But yeah, just so you can know, I know there's not. Maybe that's something we could do with Patreon money eventually. Get smell-o-vision. I mean, there's some scents that go on in this studio.
I thought you were going to suggest Sly Guy branded condoms.
Branded condoms, that could do too. You know what else you don't do when you're on the mic? Keep squeaking that bloody chair. Because it's going to pick up all that noise. You're screeching, I'm going to take the microphone off you. Imagine I did that. I was like, listen, excuse me, producer. I just give me that and smack your bum. Podcast, that'd be
a great sound though when he did it.
It would be good sound when it did it, to be fair. Yeah, it absolutely would. But speaking of things that are not good, I just wanted to say that on the way here for the Halloween episode of the podcast, we you know, maybe this is not the right phrase to use because people would debate this, but we like to be straight on this podcast, don't we? We like to, you know, be honest, be open with people, let them know how we're feeling as people. And on the way to do today's podcast, I was feeling a wee bit down in the dumps. You know, do you ever just get a wee bit down, Ben, for no reason? Just you kind of feel a bit sad.
Yes.
And then that made me feel even worse because I was like, I have no reason to feel down here. So I thought to myself, you know, now what I have attributed to, because I've spoken about this before in earlier episodes about having the odd bit of difficulty with the old bonds thoughts, get a bit down the dumps, open about it. But I think I've had a lot on the last week. I've been a busy week, and then the weekend there, my wife Catherine was working, serving the people, the NHS, big clap, and I was just at home looking after the 2 girls. Now both my daughters, a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old, just had the cold. They were miserable, they were snotty, they were sick, the temperatures. Obviously, we in today's day and age, you always just COVID. You're like, oh no, what if they've got COVID? So we did, you know, we stuck the wee. Then you stick your fingers up their nose. You stick your fingers up their nose and you stick your pinkies in their ears, and then you try to. You're supposed to try and touch the fingers so you get gunk from their ears and their nose and your fingertips. Then you flick it at a wall, and then you like take a phone photo on like a scanner, and it tells you if you got COVID or not. So we did that to them. No COVID. Mm-hmm.
I am glad your wife is a nurse.
Why?
I just don't think you're quite cut out for that role.
Why? Because I'm a man? Just because I'm a feminist? You know, I support men's rights. I support women's rights. I support people who don't even have a gender or I was going to say acceptive of gender, but that's probably people going don't accept of gender. Excuse me. Don't know of a gender. Don't accept of a gender. Do accept of a gender. Do believe they don't have a gender. You know, whatever. Who cares? All that's silly to me. It's only love, you know. But my point is that a man could be a nurse as much as a woman could be a nurse. Okay, mister? Or a trans, non-binary person could do that job as well. But that's just what I heard on a YouTube video. That was how to COVID test. So I did that. Then Catherine came home from work and did she stuck like these long earbuds up their nose, and I was like, "What are you doing?" And in their throats, but they didn't get COVID, so that's okay. That was a relief. Then, as would have it, when you have young kids, you get sick yourself. So yesterday was arguably one of the most miserable days of my life. Couldn't take the kids out; they were sick. I was stuck indoors all day with 2 sick kids, just crying, shouting at me all day. I had a headache, I had a sore throat. I had all this, when you get the snot nose, it's not COVID because you're like, your lungs aren't really sore, and obviously you did a COVID test, but your nose is all runny in your sleep, you just get a wee sore lungs, and you get all wheezy. I was all wheezy yesterday, and then I had a big gig last night that I was a bit nervous about. It was a new gig I was hosting and organising in the Copeland Distillery in Donegal, which, by the way, is one of the coolest venues I've done stand-up in. It was amazing. And last night was the first night of it. Brought everybody down. Had a good gig. Mickey Bartlett was supposed to be on. He was sick. Had to cancel like a couple of days before. So that was a headache. I was like, oh no, what are we going to do? Got Bungo Baggins in, Billy Thompson. And he did a great job at Rory Woods. Had Aaron Butler and myself. And it was just a great night. Worked really well. Loved it. A lot of my nerves about the gig were obviously allayed as soon as I got there because the staff were amazing, and the acts were amazing, the audience was amazing, the venue was amazing. It was 10 out of 10, and there's going to be more down the line, which is great. So it was a lot of fun. As I was going to the gig, I was just pumping myself full of Lemsip and friggin' Strepsils, and actually at a minute, it probably sounds terrible, but I've got a wee soother in my gob for the podcast because of a really sore throat. And again, I've said it before. I'm not gonna miss an episode of the podcast. See, Ben, can I just check with you? If I do get COVID, will you come to the COVID ward in a hazmat suit and produce the podcast from my bed?
Sure.
I'll be like Alexander Litvinenko, the Russian spy guy, who's in his bed all bald and all. Except I'll not have like a disease that makes me bald. I'm just losing my hair. And then that could be the episode. We could just call it Alexander Lit, but put it in capitals because it would be such a lit episode. We'll call it Alexander Lit / Vinyenko.
Also last podcast, but yeah.
Obviously, also my last podcast. But here, some people might enjoy that. But anyway, I digress. I don't know how I got there. But my point is, I was feeling down the dumps coming to the podcast. And I was like, you know what? I can't bring this negative energy onto the podcast. People listen to this podcast, and there are thousands every week to be picked up, have a bit of a laugh, have a bit of crack, and I thought I need some energy. Sorry, I'm just going to go off mic here and chomp down in this wee sore throat sweet. 1 second. Is that gross in your ears, mate?
It's not ideal, no.
Oh, I didn't think it would pick up. See, this is the thing about me being a technophobe, doing a podcast with an actual nerd guy. He kind of like points out wee things. He's like, don't shout in the mic, don't squeak your thing. He goes, don't touch this because it really sounds bad, doesn't it?
Yes.
So I try not to. Would you prefer I got something different than that makes better sound?
Just don't touch it.
But listen, it's like, whenever you're a wee boy and you've got a dick, and your mum's like, don't you be touching that wee thing. You're like, I know, but it's like a wee thing that stops the doors hitting the wall. I can't help it. Ding, ding, ding. No, you don't do that. I used to do that at dinner parties. No, it's my party trick. I'd come in and go, here, Mum, what? Look at this. Ding, ding, ding. And all my dad's mates. And I'll be laughing. And then my mum be going, oh, for fuck's sake. And it was only at my 16th birthday. She said, you can't do this anymore. You gotta stop doing that. And then I was like, why must I stop? Now I'm officially legal. Is there something you want to tell me? But yeah, I did that. I was a wee bit of a dickhead when I was a kid. So what I'm saying, it was down the dumps. I needed to pick my mood up. I'm heading to the podcast. I'm thinking I need something to get me in a wee bit of a buzz. So I said, I will get a coffee. I'll go to Starbucks. I'll get a coffee. And I wasn't going to name the place that I got the coffee because I don't mean to be sly to people. But it's where I went, okay? So I went in and get this coffee from them. And as I was in the queue, I saw the sign and it was like... I was in the queue and I saw a sign. It was like, kill yourself, Dave. No, I saw the sign and it was like all Halloweeny, all Halloweenish for the Irish listeners. And it said, you have all these nice things. Everything's like pumpkin spiced and Halloween. So I went, you know what? I slabbered at autumn time and pumpkin spice lattes a few weeks ago. But today for the Halloween episode, I said I'm going in and I'm buying pumpkin spice lattes for the boys. We're coming to the studio. We're getting into pumpkin spice lattes. We're going to have a Halloween time. It's going to be great. So I got up to the wee like speaker, and the guy at Starbucks is like, "Hello, welcome Starbucks, you want to order?" And I was like, oh, weird, didn't know they let people from Larne work in Bangor Starbucks. But I said, yes, please, can I have, I actually said 2 skimmed, to be fair, pumpkin spice lattes for the boys. And the guy goes, we actually don't do them anymore. And I went, but they're on the sign. And he's like, nah, we don't do them anymore, mate. And by this stage, he dropped his wee weird accent and just started doing full smack. And I was like, well, it's on there. And he was like, well, don't do it. And I was like, do you have any other pumpkin stuff? Because everything's pumpkin biscuits and all. And I was like, it's a pumpkin biscuit. He goes, nah, don't do it anymore. And I was like, but it's not Halloween till next week. Halloween is all about pumpkins. Like, I carved my miserable weekend with my 2 sick daughters. The highlight of that was carving a pumpkin with the big one, because the wee one's just fucking in the corner eating dog hair or something. And I thought, listen, give me something Halloweeny. And they were like, nah, don't have it. So I was like, so what? And I actually said to him, so what am I going to do for the Halloween episode of the podcast if we're not necking Halloween potions? And he was like, I could make you something up similar to it. And I went, okay, what's similar to pumpkin spice latte? And the guy, with completely no joke in his voice, just went, a latte, mate. I went, do you have, and I went, do you have any like pumpkin spice flavour or anything? He goes, nah. And he goes, we've got some, and again I thought it was unprofessional when he said this. He goes, got some other fucking syrups and shit if you want some of that in your fucking coffee, mate. And I went, alright, well, do you have any like pumpkin flavour that is similar to a pumpkin spice latte? So the guy's like, hazelnut, mate, I'll stick some of that in it for you. So I'm thinking, you know, these guys call themselves baristas. They're not just, like, say if it was me, I call myself a wee coffee maker. You know, I'm just a wee coffee maker. I make you a coffee. It is what it is. These guys are like, nah, we're baristas, mate. You know, it's like somebody working in a KFC being like, I'm a chef. You're like, no, you're not. You are a batterer of chickens. You know, you're a domestic violencer of chicken. You're not a fucking, anyway. These guys are baristas, so I'm like, baristas are going to know. It's like, you know, a chef knows the different spices to add to different meals to make them pop in a nice way. So I'm like, this guy's going to be like I imagined in Starbucks they have like team away days where they go and they have like a guy with circular glasses and a bald head, and he wears a turtleneck, and he's a very suave guy, and he throws like wee shots out of different flavours, and they all taste the shots, and they're like, again, like a guy from Larne is like, what flavour do you taste on this? And they're like, I taste that hazelnut. And you're like, what does it taste like? It's like, oh, pumpkin spice latte. It's like, yes, you add a wee bit of this. Potions, like Harry Potter. They're not just coffee makers. They're making potions. They're making flavours. They know how to work the palate. They know how to make the coffee pop. So I was like, yeah, I trust them, hazelnut. So I say I make it. Go get my coffee. I'm like, although it's not on the menu, I'm getting hooked up because I'm the king of North Down, getting hooked up. So here we go. Doesn't fucking taste like pumpkin spice latte. You know what it tastes like? Coffee with too much fucking like Canderel sweetener in it. You know what I mean? It's bogging. If anything, if he'd just given me the straight latte, would have been way better. So all I'm saying is, and I know people see nowadays people slabber at Starbucks all the time, like, oh, I don't go to Starbucks because they make coffees in like actual coffee pots and they use actual coffee machines, whereas I like mine to be drained from a brogue. It's like, oh, okay. I like to buy guava beans that are processed through the anus of a macaw, and then I like it to be drained through a burgundy brogue. And failing a burgundy brogue, if I'm having decaf, I'll use a moccasin. And like these, like they're snobs about it. Starbucks tastes good. There you go. Put that on record. Again, like I said last week, how's that for a picnic? Stick it up your arse. And that's exactly what it is. And to be fair, it's not nice with hazelnut in it. It's not a pumpkin spice latte. But, you know, respect the Starbucks, and hopefully, you know, if you just want to sponsor the podcast, you can.
Have you heard about the coffee that comes through cats?
Pardon? The coffee that comes through cats?
The most expensive coffee in the world is found in a sort of cat's species.
You know what it sounds like? The coffee that comes through cats. The worst ever goosebumps. Goosebumps? The worst ever goosebumps book. The worst ever goosebumps book. Oh, I probably can't say that. Anyway. But yeah, what is this? Say that again. The coffee that comes from a cat.
Yeah, so a civet cat.
A civet cat.
Yeah, basically eats the coffee beans and then
Okay.
shites them out, and then they make coffee out of it, and it's the world's most expensive coffee.
You know what? Hipsters have gone too far and need to be stopped. Like, there's a hipster sitting there. You know why hipsters, when they cross their legs, they always have three skinny legs, and they cross them, and then they go around the back of their own leg and hook it in, and that's how they think. They're probably sitting looking at this cat going like, whatever comes out of that cat's asshole next, I'm going to ferment and drink or eat.
I have just sent you an image
Oh,
of
no.
the before and after.
The before and after of the civet cat.
The with the beans before and after.
Okay, so which are the beans before? Oh, so you mean, so the beans of the actual coffee look like coffee beans, and then afterwards they look like coffee beans in a log of shit.
I presume so.
Yeah, I take it you've got this image up here on the screen for the watchers on the YouTube to see. I mean,
Oh, the brown ones are before.
the brown ones are before.
The ones that actually look like turds
Are turds.
are turds.
Yeah, well, I mean, it looks like a melted Snickers bar. Like, it looks like a Snickers bar you just left in your in the car too long in the glove box. You'd be like, oh, this looks nice, and you open it and it's like, oh, what's this? But why is it set up on a wee table in like a wee wicker basket? Like, it's like why is there, like, here's my question. So in this instant, right, there's a made cup of coffee sitting there. So the coffee's made, but yet somebody's just dished up a shite in a bowl to sip. You having a coffee, mate? Yeah, there's a fucking bowl of shite for you to just look at while you drink your coffee. Very strange.
Just after you're done, like, did you do that coffee? Yeah, well, that's what it looked like
Yeah.
before.
Here, mate, you like... Imagine they did that with other foods. You think? Mate, you like a fucking bacon? Well, here's a big fucking heifer of a cow. Look at... Or a cow? Oh, shit, I'm scundered. A big fat pig. Alright? A big fat pig. But that's weird. And it looks very much like it's... You know, it doesn't look like a hipster coffee place. That it looks like a North African coffee place. Like, I've seen this place. By the way, I just want to go on record to say I have been looking for coffee shops in Belfast whenever I'm doing gigs, but for some reason post-COVID they shut all coffee shops at like 4 in the afternoon. There's nowhere to get coffee when you're at a gig. It's bullshit. But then on the way to Lavery's one night, I walked past a place called like the Sahara Shisha Lounge, which is easy for me to say, Sahara Shisha Lounge. And it just had a load of old men sitting out the front, smoking shisha, drinking coffee, and eating kebab. And I said to myself, that's a bit of me. So big shout out to Sahara Shisha Bar. I would like to go there at some point. Hold on a wee second. William Thompson's coming here after the podcast to have a chat about some stuff, talking some business. And I just need to tell him, don't come up now or you'll ruin the flow of the podcast here. Where is it, my office? I was actually nearly going to say my actual office address here on the podcast. What's that place called? I don't even know what the restaurant's called. I know now. I've remembered. I nearly told him the old address. Oh no, so what have you sent me here now? Oh no.
And even greater. Well, the step before it arrives in the wee wicker basket.
What I want to ask about that is why has the cat got the most chilled out shitting position? Why also does the cat have like a sausage meat film in its arsehole? Like, it looks like, instead of just a piece of shit, it looks like it's either going into a condom or like sausage skin. Like, are these hipsters like, you know the way in a sausage making machine you have to hold the skin up and then they squeeze the meat out? Are hipsters being like, man, lift your tail, Mr. Cat, and just hold it on, just fucking, man, fill that up, bro. You know, fill that up, my guy. Which, by the way, see that phrase, throw it in the bin, my guy, automatically makes somebody sound like they're on the spectrum. You know, they could be completely, like, you'd be like, what are you up to today, my guy? What? My guy? Like, who? Stop it. Am I old? Hey, it is what it is. Ben, how long have we been talking for here? It feels like it's been longer than I even thought.
About half an hour.
Half an hour? There you go. And a Halloween special. I've been spoken about Halloween. What are you doing for Halloween? Anything exciting? Just, you're bringing the kids out, aren't you, to ask for money?
Pretty much just doing the rounds.
As in door to door, or just round family members, like cash.
Anyone has a nice car in the driveway, we knock up on.
That's good. Well, you know what? I don't like anybody coming to my door, like, so I've got cashew nuts for the kids. So if you got a problem with that, they can fuck away at. Want some cashew nuts? Now, well, you're an ungrateful bastard and fuck off around your own door. How about that for a picnic once again? But yeah, the pumpkin's out the front door. Looks good. Cut it myself with my daughter. It was a nice father-daughter moment if she didn't fucking whinge the whole way through, but it was a good time. And you know why people like to be all creative and be like, I made pumpkin soup. Like, you know what pumpkin soup tastes like? Pish. So I had to make pumpkin soup. You know what I did? Scooped it all up and put it in the bin. And guess what colour bin it was? The blue bin. Deal with that, council. Suck on that. Yeah. Recycle pumpkin, salt of the earth. You know, fire that in with your bottles. You know, fire it in. I use my blue bin. What I put in my blue bin, I put in anything that comes out that way, compost bin in the kitchen. I throw fucking pumpkin seeds in there. I put the lids of glass jars in there, and also use nappies and bottles of water. And then that's what I say. You know, the Ards and North Down Borough Council need to look at themselves. They need to reduce the prices of rents on commercial properties along the seafront of Bangor, and they need to put local businesses in, and they need to regenerate the area and make it a proper town again. They need to make Bangor a city. What do you say with that, Ben?
Yeah.
Here's an idea. Listen, there's my pitch to the council here. There's a lot of empty shop units there. There's a lot of empty places. People could go in. Don't charge people rent for the first year. And then once, if their business is successful, charge them a reasonable rent. Get it up and running.
This is very boring, but
Mhm.
the whole redevelopment of
Yeah.
Bangor has
I designed that.
stopped again
Why is it stopped?
because a pond might flood.
A what?
A pond might flood.
A pond? What's a pond?
A pond.
A pond?
Yeah.
Where?
And it wouldn't drain properly because of all the pipes underneath the town.
But you know what? They don't need to do that whole development that they're planning on. They could just let the rent be cheaper. And people, like, there was a company I remember, we were looking at spaces to do the podcast in because, believe it or not, Ben and I both live on the Gold Coast of Bangor, and we have to come to Hollywood, Gross, to record the podcast because, believe it or not, the rent is more affordable in Hollywood than it is in Bangor. And that's BS because, see, if someone gave us a decent space, we could do anything you want. We could do anything you want. And we would pay you more than £0, which is a lot of what people are paying there. Now, I know people don't listen to this podcast to talk about town regeneration, but sometimes, you know, sometimes you got to switch it up. You just got to try and, you know, be a little bit different, and that's what we've done. That's what we've done this week. We're talking about that, but you've kind of, like last week when you told me Arsenal were shit on the podcast. This week I'm kind of like, I'm annoyed they're not regenerating Bangor so my kids can't enjoy their teenage years. You know, one's 1, one's 3, and I'm like, see when they're 17, they would have time in their life if they just made a boardwalk. Make a boardwalk in Bangor, please. You know, for first kiss on the board. No, they won't kiss anybody. But give them a boardwalk to sit with their friends and have candy floss on the boardwalk. That's my pitch to Ards and North Town Council. Give us a boardwalk. And also just eradicate Ards. Just take any funding that goes to Ards, give the Bangor, and then to get massive pneumatic drill and just get it to just drill the border between Ards and Bangor, and then just use all the money you would have put and just push Ards into the Strangford Loch, just send it out to sea. What do you think about that for a pitch?
Probably be cheaper than redeveloping Bangor, to be fair.
Yeah, and then also just, you know, blow up Lisburn while we're at it. If we're just redesigning the country, let's just go for it. Yeah, fuck Lisburn too. Yeah, I thought that was very open of me and very honest. Can I move this now? Does this make a sound? Right, guys, it's time for the podcast that everybody, for some reason, seems to love. It's the Sly Dig, which, you know what I've realised? I host a podcast called the Sly Guy Podcast, and whatever way my big fat tongue works, I can't say sly very well. I say it like I've got a speech impediment, and it embarrasses me. All right? So the topics this week, Jordan McKay said, people who walk really slowly in front of you and then just stop abruptly for no apparent reason. Oh, Ben's over there sighing. Is that something that gets to you?
Yeah.
Can I ask you off the bat, does your wife do it?
No.
My wife does this thing, right? And she says, what's the problem? I'm like, everything is the problem about this. She'd walk into a shop. So say, like, what shop do we go to? Like, I know, Tag Heuer, Rolex, or fucking Marks & Spencer or whatever. So we're walking into Marks & Spencer. She'll have the babies in the pram. She'll walk in, and she will, as soon as she goes through the door, stop to like assess what she needs to do, whilst I'm still trying to gain access to the shop. But then she's just stopped there. Like, I wonder where I should go first. The food hall's over there. Got some nice jumpers over there. The lingerie's there. You've got actually a few wee pairs of gutties you might need because you're big fucking monster feet. And I'm like, there's a queue of people now I can't get in because you just stopped dead in the middle of the entrance of a shop. And she does that all the time. And then if you're kind of like move, or you kind of like sort of not, I was going to say you fucking push her, when you kind of edge her in, she just turns around and is like, what are you fucking doing? And I'm like, I'm not hurting you, all right? I'm just trying to scurry you in. She does that all the time, and it tends to be older people too, which makes it awkward. See if an old person's walking slowly and then stops in front of you, normally to breathe or to like take a wee pump of their wee fucking oxygen cylinder that they have attached to their wee shopping bag, turn that on. If you bump into them and knock them over, you're the bad guy. It's not my fault I'm an actual juggernaut. I'm like one of those vintage juggernauts. It takes a wee while to get up, like a steam train. It takes a wee while to get, in both life and in the bedroom, it takes a wee while to get it up, get it cracking, get the coals fired, you know. But then what I'm saying is, it takes a long time for it to slow to a halt. So if you're an old person walking in front of me and you stop, expect to be obliterated, my friend.
Can I add a little side part
Yeah,
of this?
go ahead.
People who are walking down an aisle, Tesco's, wherever, and stop to look at, say, the aisle to their left, but turn their trolley with them.
Yeah.
The trolley then is pointing at
Block the trolley.
and blocks the whole thing.
I've got a move for that. What you do is you're walking, right? You lift your boot like this, and you put the bottom of your boot in it, and you fucking boot it into them, and you go, out of my way, dickhead. That's how you deal with that. Hold on. Bilbo's on again. He's 5 minutes away. We'll get this wrapped. Right. So, yeah, well, that's an annoyance, Jordan. Absolutely. Good shout this week. And you strike me as a polite sort of guy, but you know what, though? Have you ever seen the music video? I think it's for Bodies by Drowning Pool. I was like, let the bodies hit the floor. It's just a guy walking about, just really pissed off, and then when he goes, floor, he just fucking whiteys, kicks the shit out of people. Ah! It's like that. You should just always listen to Drowning Pool's Bodies as you're doing your Tesco shop, you know, or listeners to the podcast when they're doing their Lidl shop or whatever. But going through, it's like, let the bodies, and just fucking smack some friggin' granny out of the way with a fucking leg of lamb. Have some of that, bitch. Naomi has said, certain coffee shops I go in for and ask for oat milk, I feel like I've asked them to walk through the fires of Mordor. I didn't choose the dairy-free life, it chose me. Should I be made feel like a pain for asking for it? Yes, you should be. I feel like if you're one of these people who have to ask for special milk, maybe maybe the coffee life's not for you. You know, something like, as a friend, I have a friend who is lactose intolerant. He's friggin' dairy intolerant. He has Crohn's. Anytime you go to a restaurant and you'd be like, you'll be in Nando's for talk's sake, say, listen, can I have like, it's going to be a very specific order from me. You might think this is actually my order in Nando's. Could I have the boneless thighs, please, medium, with rice and peas with a wee side of halloumi as well? I mean, if we're rushing here, could I just have the 3-wing starter as well? And they'd be like, yeah, except can I make a few changes to that? Could you hold the boneless thighs, please, and actually just put the actual chicken burger meat on the plate instead of boneless thighs, please? Can I have a pineapple as opposed to the rice and the peas? Actually, I can't eat peas, but I just worry that maybe they've been cooked in maybe dairy. So instead of peas, could I have walnuts there as well? And instead of just having the 3 legs, just could I have a slice of lettuce, please? And they're like, so what do you want? They say, oh, well, give me the boneless thighs, obviously with the peas and rice with side halloumi, but then you need to just switch the boneless thighs for the chicken, and then the pineapple can be the rice, and then for the peas just a slice of lettuce. So if you want lettuce, pineapple, and a chicken breast, no, I want the boneless thighs, but instead of boneless thighs, chicken. You know, that's how awkward it is. And what I'm saying to you, Naomi, is yes. See, if you go in over time, the body's evolved to the point where it's gone, I can't have milk. That kind of means that you have to go and live in Guantanamo Bay now. It's unfortunately the way of it. But what I would do, my advice to you is, if you don't want to feel awkward, don't leave the house, become a hermit, or always have oat milk on you. That'd be gangster, like a sort of an oat milk cowboy. Don't worry, hold the milk, I've got my own. I mean, as a woman, probably if you don't produce oat milk there, would be very creepy to a barista. Be like, do you want any milk in that? And you're like, no, hold the milk, I've got my own. And they're probably like, huh? I mean, but oh no, oat milk. I'm not actually just going to produce a teat and into the, which, by the way, I have seen. Haven't, I'm just lying. I mean that's another falsity. See, whenever you have kids, you have this. Like when I was growing up, I didn't realize that women only produced milk from their boobies whenever they had like babies. I just thought it was like a weapon women had. So like if you were slobbering at a woman or something and you're at a distance, they could just go yeah, and squirt tit milk at you, and you'd be all ah. You know, I just thought they had an ever ready supply of milky tits, like. And alas, I figured that they don't. And, you know, it's kind of disappointing. And I actually had a male friend who said he could squeeze breast milk out of his own breast, but it was just sweat. He squeezed sweat from the sweat glands of his nipples. He squeezed them so hard like he's trying to burst a spot. But he was just like secreting what looked like pre-cum out of his nipple, but it was just sweat. Stinking. Can you do that, Ben?
No, to be fair, I haven't tried.
No, well, here, listen. Next week on the Patreon episode, Ben's going to try and get breast milk out of his tits. J Red has said shoppers in supermarkets just abandon the trolley mid-aisle to go and browse the shelves. We've already hit on that one. That's a good call. That's tied in a bit. But yeah, I hate that too. And you know what I do in that instance? See, whenever people leave a full trolley, I just push it out of the way. So I take it with me if I don't have a trolley and just push it to the end of that. Then you look back in the aisle and you see someone going, oh, and I always do that. Where's my trolley? But then in your mind you go, I hope that's somebody with dementia. I hope it is. And then I'm just ruining their life through. I swore at a trolley. And you're like, no. And then it'll be like, has anyone seen my trolley? And I'll be like, you didn't have a trolley, mate. Should you be going back to fold now or what? And then I bundle him in the boot of my car and bring him to Savoy and leave him. Jane Riley has said, moving house and the dump being jobs worth about letting you in the van. We'd go from North Belfast and use a friend's postcode and got into Carryduff by the skin of our teeth. You know what? We're going to fall out here because I'm a big fan of dump. I feel like it's a rite of passage. When you go to the dump, you need to know the rules of the dump. You need to respect the dump. And that also applies in my house as well. You got to respect the dump. Don't be coming in the bathroom and daddy's dropping loads. But yeah, you shouldn't be going in with a van. See, if you're moving house, what you do is you phone the Ards and North Down Borough Council and say specifically the Ards area. Be like, you guys haven't fuck all else to do because Ards is a dump. Can you come and collect all the shit from my house, dump it? That's the plan. What is your thoughts on Ards? Didn't see that one coming, did you, Benny? Oh. Hold on a wee second. William's here. I'm going to say, hold on a sec. Unless he's outside in the cold, then you might have to go and get him. If that's okay. And I'll just keep going. Mark Beggs has said, literally just as I snorted into the microphone there, the sound of anyone chewing or smacking their lips could be very easily send me into a murderous rage. You know what? Hold this thought, because Lee's comment is people who cycle to work and strut about the office in their cycling gear. It's an office, not a gym, lads. Both of those things are things I've spoken about on previous episodes. Mark, it's misophonia. It's a condition I suffer from. Makes me genuinely want to murder my family when I'm having a dinner without having any noise in the background, whether that's a fan above the cooker, whether I have to turn up the filter in the goldfish tank, or whether I have to just turn the TV on, or just put my AirPods in and just listen to Drowning Pool and repeat. Let the bodies. And then that's the thing too, because whenever you're listening to Drowning Pool, you do flip out when the hits flaw. So I just be sitting there watching my mum eat vegetable soup, and as soon as he hits that thing, I just like, sorry mum, right to the head. I wouldn't hit her in her face or nose to hurt her, just the forehead to start her. Do you ever do that? Your mum's being fucking Larry and you just hit her with one stiff dig right to the forehead and just fucking discombobulate her a bit. Yeah, just a jab to the forehead. No, my ma's the only fucking job she's getting, anti-vaccine bitch. By the way, that's a complete and utter lie. My mum's had all the vaccines and some, you know. She just actually, on the way to get a vaccine, there was this fella, you know, just standing outside the city hospital train station, was like, here, love, do you want a job? And she was like, oh, I just fucking... And then she ended up just vomiting bubbly saliva and passing out. But anyway, that's another talk for another day. Oh no, that's probably the worst noise ever. Only second. This is this fun content when you're just in the middle of the pod. Are you outside, mate? Are you out there? I'm maybe saying Ben. Ben,
Yeah.
do you want to go and get William, and I'll just wing
Sure.
this next bit. Yeah. Hold on, I'll say Ben's coming for you. What a response. This is how boys respond to me. I said, "Are you outside?" He said, "Yes, I'm in an alleyway." Ben, go fetch the boy from the alleyway. There we go. So yes, that was a sly dig, guys. I hope you enjoyed that. Also, just want to talk about my Ulster Hall show, which, by the way, is coming up as usual on the as I mention every week, on the 17th of December. And William is 4 stories below us here, and we can hear the guy. But the Ulster Hall tickets are selling really well for that. I'm buzzing. I'm excited. The time is nearly upon us. So if you haven't got your tickets yet, get on over to the Ulster Hall website. You can get the link through my social media channels, and then just buy your tickets. And could you make more noise, William?
Yeah.
He could. What is that? You've brought, like, he's brought cookies with him.
Chicken breast.
It's a chicken breast, is it? I bet you. I told him to bring like gear, and it's probably just. Is it laced with? Do you want to just jump on? Sure. Do you want to jump on?
Oh, yeah, much is left, eh?
Oh, I'm just nearly finished here.
Sweet.
So yeah, jump on in. Welcome to the Sly Guy podcast. You're, I think, the first guest. Yeah. I mean, do you have a chair? Or do you want to just stand? Come just stand over here.
I also look like I'm cutting the promo.
Yeah.
Here.
You know, it does very much look like it. That's probably the first time anyone's ever said that to you, is it? Be shorter.
Yeah.
Be
You're
shorter.
too tall, William.
Yeah. So yeah, well, that's it. I'm just talking about my Ulster Hall show. There's still tickets available. Have you bought yours yet?
Yes.
Because I was going to let you in free, so you've mugged yourself
Yeah,
there.
I haven't. I was
Yeah.
being nice.
Well, you're barred now, you know, and there's actually disability seats available too, so you're not even getting them.
Fair enough.
And you know what, all your mates as well are like coming with fucking getting pushed in by their big mates, and they're fuck them too.
I don't have disabled mates. I feel
Good, I don't like
I
them
like
either.
being the only one.
Good, I don't like them either. All right, they're weirdos. Anyway,
Act normal, guys.
anyway, it's just stand up, like. Anyway. The podcast is no longer going to be sponsored by Modest Beer because I think they'll probably just listen to the last 5 minutes. But yeah, it's an independent brewery brewing small batch beers for discerning drinkers. Do you like Modest Beer yourself? You ever tried any?
I've never tried it.
I'll give you a few tins to take home with you.
100%. I'll try that.
And if there's ever one man that loves to just bring beers home with him, it's you. I didn't speak about this yet, but we went to watch Shane's show in the waterfront on Friday.
Yeah.
And like again, there was no rider. Like I thought to myself, you know, there's bound to be something, but they were like, listen, Shane, you can have free stuff, and we're like, not knowing Shane, just like about 40 beers.
Yeah.
And like he's like, oh, I don't drink beers because there's gluten in it. You're like, all right, mate. And so there's just all this fridge full of beer, and at the end, the security guy was like, you can take all that beer home with you if you want. And I have never seen a man get more excited. You were like, can I? And then you just no bag to take them in. So you were like, you gone from being so excited to being heartbroken.
I was scurrying about that
And
room, like throwing open doors.
You were like an addict, like looking for a hit. You were just trying to find a bag. Like at one point, you were on your knees, like assessing whether you should take the lining out of a bin and just fuck it out and take the beers.
I was just walking around the room in circles, going, "Oh no, oh no,
But then,
no!"
like Aaron Butler, he ended up letting you use his rucksack, which was
Very nice.
nice, but also really sly, because the entire time you were crawling around like a crack whore, he had a full empty rucksack in his back. You know, a Spider-Man rucksack. The guy's like 35.
I think I
Spider-Man
had to go to
rucksack.
him, like, can I use that actually?
Yeah.
Like, he didn't offer it.
And it's like,
But he
you know,
still gave it to me.
You know, in the Bible, there's always the one guy that like they always mug off in the Bible. They always like make a dick out of them. They're like, see you mate, you've got no fucking money and all, you're a tramp. You know that guy. And then everyone's like, oh
In
no.
every chapter of the Bible.
Every
isn't it?
chapter of the Bible, I was like, you're a wee fucking dirty wee tramp and all, and everyone's making fun of the person, being like, you've got no money, you're a whore, you've got no shoes, right? And then ultimately Jesus comes along and is like, but you've got a good heart, mate, you're the right one, you guys are all fucking sly, so
Yeah.
you can piss off. He's going to heaven and you are all going to hell. That was kind of like Butler. He should have earlier given you that, so Jesus would have come down and gone, it's nice you've done that, but you should have done it at the start.
He also would have went, don't drink.
Yeah.
Don't drink, this is bad.
But then Jesus is like, well, what am I supposed to do with my magic? 'Cause,
What's the story in the Bible I remember? Is it like the guy Barabbas, who's like a thief, and he steals money, and everyone comes to see
I mean,
Jesus?
that's normally what thieves do. Yeah. He was a thief that stole Barabbas.
Barabbas, yeah, and Jesus was like,
Is it?
I could be wrong here, but Jesus
Yeah.
was like, you get to come front seat, mate, and there's all these poor people and disabled people being like, but Jesus, like, we actually crawled across the desert, and he was like, nah.
Yeah. Barabbas is a thief, and I'm trying to make him see the error of his ways. Barabbas is probably going, Jeez, no harm. Yeah, all these fucking disabled people are here listening to you. I should be in their gaffs stroking them. Like, what's going on here?
Robbers had his hands around someone's watch.
Yeah,
The moment he was
Robbers
called.
is like, oh no, shit. if this is a shout here and you've got this guy's name right, this is 10 out of 10.
Barabbas.
Uh-huh.
Say done for treason.
Barabbas was done for. Did he get murdered?
Crucified.
Oh, well, there you go. Fuck's sake. The fat lot of good being mates with Jesus, isn't it? Barabbas is like, listen, come here. Tell us what you've done, Barabbas. I fucking stroked a load of watches, did I? It's like, Romans, crucify him.
Just like, you're forgiven, get him.
Yeah. And he goes, see, Barabbas, if you'd have got justice earlier, you would have had your hands cut off and they could have nailed you to the cross, but you're not fucking bastard, Barabbas. Yeah. And then Barabbas probably went, Jesus Christ. And they're like, hey, too far. Too far, I'm here. Oh, poor old Barabbas. And how did this all come about a sponsor, Reid? Oh, you and the free booze. So,
Yeah.
have you had any of them yet?
I haven't, no.
No. So, what I'm saying is, you'll leave here today with more beer.
Yeah.
Man, it's probably only, like, to be fair, 110, because I think it's in the next room. Like, so you'll be able to carry, you won't need a bag to carry, you'll be alright. But yeah, Modest Beer, at Modest Beer, www.modestbeer.co.uk. Just, you know the enough people don't do? Use Google. Well, where did I hear about this Modest Beer? Google, and then there you go. That's it. You find it through there.
I love when anyone does it. Where can I find it? And you just send them the link to Google.
Yeah.
Because that's where you find everything.
The worst one, I mean, and I'm sure people get it too, and you get it as well.
I feel like me
Stand up.
this.
You know what I mean? See, whenever you don't actually, but I mean, when you're doing shows, where can I get tickets to your Ulster Hall show? What's my name? Dave Elliott. Where am I doing a gig? Ulster Hall. Google it.
Yeah.
And literally first thing comes up,
Yeah.
tickets.
There's going to be at most 3 different links for that.
I know, and it will all get you the same thing. Tickets
Yeah.
to my show.
Yeah.
Oh, I meant to get tickets for your show, but I didn't know where to get them. All right,
I
mate.
hear people say, I was like, just say you don't want to come see me.
I know,
That's fine.
but I don't mind that. See if people are just like, no harm. Like, who did it? My sister, actually, did it to me one day. She was like, I'm going to come home. She lives in London, right? She goes, I'm going to come home and I'm going to look after your kids during your Ulster Hall show. And I was like, oh, that's really kind, but also, do you not want to come? And she was like, nah, I don't. And I went, why? And she's like, oh, to be honest with you, I just don't think you're funny. I never really have. And I went, all right, well, at least you're honest, and I can't even hate her for it because she's
Well,
straight up honest with me.
You can appreciate that,
I
People
do.
like what they like.
Yeah. And then, also fully written her out of the will, but, fuck
Yeah.
her. But at least she's babysitting the kids and I won't have to just leave them by
That's
themselves.
3 cans of Modest Beer you're not getting.
Exactly, because you're getting them.
So I'm getting them, yeah.
Imagine
well.
that. That's your new thing. You just collect beers. Like, you don't even drink them. You just go around collecting them everywhere you go. You don't get paid for gigs.
We Spiegel.
Oh, you got mugged, by the way, last night. I mean to tell you. I didn't mean to tell you.
What happened?
You got mugged hard. See, at the end of the gig, they were like, we did a gig last night in the distillery. Which, by the way, great gig, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was the first one there. So we finished the set. On the way out, they were like, oh, do you want to grab a bottle of gin or something, or take?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Fuck, I did get mugged.
You got mugged, so
That's what I
yeah.
get for leaving early.
you do. But
I
listen,
deserved it.
That
was a wonderful gig. I had loads
Yeah.
of lovely wee messages after.
yeah, it was great. It was a really good time, and everyone did really well.
Yeah.
And I was nervous as fuck to start because we've been sick all day. We've been hanging out. This is the 3rd day in a row we've been hanging out together. It's
Yeah.
weird, isn't it? But
Right.
but what are we going to do tomorrow? Just go on a picnic or something, or a walk? Like?
Take me for an ice cream.
That sounds good. But yeah, it was good. It was a good time, and there was going to be more in December, so isn't that great? So
Very, very
so just whack through these questions, and then William's actually here because we just hang out now together every day. So we've a wee bit of work to do together. And you like that?
Is that a little Vince McMahon one? Is that?
No, that's actually.
Can you see from my angle why I think that's a Vince?
Yeah, it does look like Vince. I mean, he wouldn't wear an outfit like that, but it's unless probably he had like some sort of character of an African origin, and then Vince would be like, "I'm gonna be your manager," and he'd be like, "But Vince, that's an offensive outfit." And he'd be like, "But the guy beside him is freshly squeezed Orange Cassidy, though."
Is it?
Yeah, Orange Cassidy, and I believe that's
Aaron Butler.
a guy, Aaron Butler. It's a guy from BTS called Jimin.
That's
Yeah.
really. See when people in movies move into a house.
Yeah,
That's sitting at like
He
the
lives
kid's
there.
bedside.
Yeah.
That's the haunted thing.
yeah, he's definitely a bit creepy, isn't he? And he was £7, so he may actually be possessed because normally those BTS dolls are like 40 quid. But I'll not worry about it. Right, John Joe said, as a fellow dog guy, I'm keen to know if you'll be removing young Vinny's junk. Will I be cutting my dog's balls off? Yes,
Personally,
I will. Yeah, I've done it before and I'll do it again. Like I did it to the neighbour's dog without consent, but Who cares?
Threw down a few Asda bags, away you go.
I just said, mate, do you want to eat treat? And he came with a treat, and I just fucking took 2 broken bits of breeze blocks and just took a balls clean off him. But no, my dog is now at the stage where he is a horny teenager, and it's gross. No, now I know how my mum felt, like having to clean my bedroom and all.
Have to cut your balls off.
And like, I mean, my mum did agree, you know, to be fair. But he has started like, and I'm sure every teenage boy goes through the phase where they fuck their own bed. You know, they're just in their bed and they're fucking their own bed. He's fucking his own bed. And then obviously when you finish fucking your own bed, like, am I right here? You rip it apart with your teeth.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what
Standard
he's been doing.
teenage boy stuff.
He's done that twice.
He's doing that and he's listening to Limp Bizkit the entire time.
Yeah, and he's just like chocolate starfish, not even knowing what chocolate starfish is. And he's going, oh, fucking Fred Durst makes me, whoa.
My will.
Yeah, give me something to break. And you're like, oh no, not my fucking banjo chord though, please. But yeah, I'm going to get his balls cut off, and soon, because he's the biggest dick in the house, and it's just really freaking me out. Johnny Stevenson has said no. I put a call out for questions. So Ben put a graphic up there. I'm going to send you the graphic to put up because that's a great question. Sharon has said there's a song that instantly transports you back to being a teenager. What an appropriate segue actually from that.
That's very good.
Is there any because again now this is where we're going to see each other's ages. You're 10 years younger than me, which is embarrassing.
Yeah.
To say, like, that means technically I could be your dad.
You're not.
I had
in
puberty.
age brackets. You're not.
I had puberty whenever I was 8, mate. So I had a full big set of grey balls when I was 10. So I could quite believably be your dad.
I don't even think my dad has grey balls yet. So
yeah, he's got a wee pink dick still.
Yeah.
How do you know that? But respect.
He just sends me it every week. But don't speak. But he keeps
he's like, "What's happening, son? What do you think of this?" You're like, "Oh, seems to the last week that weird." Yeah, what's the song if you were to hear? Even it's hard to pinpoint to a song. But what about like an artist? Anyone you like? That's
I could go specific song. It's not even a song I particularly like.
Hoobastank the Reason.
I fucking love that song. That's a great song.
That's somebody who like watches too much Dawson's Creek and cries over girls.
Yeah.
And the reason is you while they're humping their bed and eating their pillow. So what is the song?
Do you know Am I Wrong by Nico and Vines? It's like, am I wrong for cheating at the box where I can't stay?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I know that.
That came out as I was in my last year of school, just learned to drive. Sunny day, getting out of school.
That's
that was
nice.
on the radio flat out. I
think any song by Busted reminds me of being a teenager. I just love Busted.
I like Busted.
Busted are great.
Thunderbird's a great song.
But like also the Enema of the State, the Blink-182 album, is another one. It was one of the first albums I bought when I liked music. I bought that album and The History of Rock by Kid Rock on the same day, and they were the first 2 albums I bought, and I was like that.
First ever album I think I owned was the Marshall Mathers LP.
Mm-hmm. In fact, I'm a liar. I asked Santa Claus for a Spice Girls album because I thought we used to get the wee books inside the album with pictures.
Yeah.
I thought there'd be like pictures of Jerry in it, and I used to really fancy her, but I couldn't tell my mum because. And then I started buying Smash Hits magazine, and my dad was probably like, he's a wee friggin' special one, like. Whereas my mum was like, what the hell? And really, I was like, there's got to be posters. There's got to be posters.
Special edition daddies.
And then you stick a picture of Jerry Halliwell to your bed.
And you fuck the poster on the bed.
I've all been there, haven't I? No,
Yeah.
no. Oh no, I'm embarrassed now. People are like, actually, no, only you and your dog.
Posters were obsolete by the time I was a teenager.
You know what
It's like, I've got this cool new poster. We're like, you have a phone.
Yeah, you were
freak.
definitely. Yeah, see, in my day, like, one of my earliest memories of I mean, who thought the podcast would go down this route? The sexual awakening was
The 2 of us in the room, so
fair. You used to get.
I'm taking the knee this whole podcast, by the way.
Respect. I like that. Listen, you're respecting the blacks and I'm respecting the bitches. So together we are just the modern man. But and I remember like I don't know if this is something that you missed in your childhood, but did you still get to save up coupons from the back of cereal boxes to get things?
No.
I got to save coupons at the back to get posters of the Gladiators, right? Now what was great was I remember going like, I finally got a couple. I had enough to get 2 posters, right? And I want Hunter and I want Shadow. They're my 2 favourite Gladiators. Lifestyle or life-size photos of Hunter and like posters of Hunter and the Gladiators. And I was like, Hunter and Shadow. And I says to my dad, can you get me Hunter and Shadow? And my dad goes, nah. And I went, Why can't I have Hunter and Shadow? And I've only realised now I'm a bit older is the fact that my dad didn't want his son to have two men in effectively just skimpy leotards on his wall, two hunky muscly men, which by the way to this day I would still quite happily have hunky muscly men.
I
So
thought they were the women.
no, so he goes, here, I'll pick who you're getting. And I went, alright, I like the gladiators, I'll take any of them. Jet and Lightning. So this babe Jet on one wall, who by the way I think was my first crush, and Lightning on the other wall, who, let's be fair, would kick out of bed for eating biscuits. Like, she was pretty sexy herself.
What about Wolf? Did Wolf get a look in?
No, the wolf man was too, like, he was too old. Like, I was looking at, with ageism in my mind, I'm like, what the fuck's this old freak doing? Yeah, he's good in the mic, he's good at shooting a promo.
Yeah.
But these other guys would squish his
I'm
head.
sure when
Like.
they did the revamp one, like a few years later, he was like the only one that brought back.
Yeah, but
genuinely sexy.
But to be fair, he's like the nature boy, isn't he? He's maybe not necessarily physically got it anymore,
Yeah.
but he's the dirtiest player in the
He's
game.
Jake the Snake. He's got
He
those
is.
eyes.
He's got the eyes. He's got the mind, and he always used to threaten kids and all. And like nowadays, probably no place for it. Like back in the day, I remember him dropping the nut in the 8-year-olds. Like he'd be walking past, he'd be going, "You're a wanker, Wolf." He goes, "I'm a fuck." Boom.
Oh, so when you said dropping the nut, then they hear it.
Yeah, hosted by Jimmy Savile in the day. Like.
Was it?
No, it wasn't. It's John Fashanu, who, by the way, I don't.
Who the fuck's that?
Auga.
Doesn't.
Nope.
Doesn't help me at all.
That's brilliant. I feel so old, but I love it. Here, this is. I feel like this is a good one for you. Which again, the segues today have been second to none. Naomi has said, "What is morally okay but seems illegal?"
Oh, that's a good one.
Me having somebody on the podcast. Actually, it's a pretty weird feeling.
When Woody Allen married his like stepdaughter, it was for some reason
Yeah.
seemingly fine, but should for sure be illegal.
But who was it? I was listening to a podcast. I think it was Norm Macdonald on Mark Maron maybe, and he was saying he was in an event. No, I'm a liar. It wasn't. It wasn't Norm Macdonald. It was. Ooh, I can't remember. Rosebud Baker. She was on, right, and her granda was like somebody in George Bush Senior's cabinet,
Right.
in the American government, right? So he's high up, so she would go to these like flipping big do's and all at the White House and stuff. And she said she was at one of these do's, and Woody Harrelson was there with his wife now. And I said it was all going really well, and she's like, "I was getting on well." She's, but I couldn't bite my tongue. I had to say something to him, and she's like, "I didn't know." So she's like, "I always going well." And then she asked him, she was like, "Oh, so how did you two meet?" And apparently Woody Harrelson was like, or Woody Allen, not Woody Harrelson.
I was gonna say Woody Harrelson. Like, Woody Harrelson's that.
Woody
was a
Harrelson's
serial
like,
killer, but
yeah. I mean, listen, Woody's not a good
Woody
name to have.
Harrelson's like, I'm gonna be a big deal in 10 years. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, but apparently they were just like, and she went, "I'll just leave now. Cheers."
And he's like, I
been a
used
good
to
one.
change her nappies and was like,
Oh no.
that's the reality of that situation. I haven't made anything up.
Oh no, that's horrible, Woody. Well, Woody's a gross name too, isn't it? Woody.
His movies are fucking funny. Though.
Speaking of Woody, the next question's from Peter Woods. He said, "If you had 24 hours left to live, what are you going to do with your final day?" That's depressing. I honestly probably sit in the house and gurn. Be like, "Fuck, I'm not ready to die."
I'd be getting fucking hammered.
But why?
Why wouldn't you? You've one day left.
Yeah, because what if you like
I'd be eating all amounts of shit.
out of asses or?
No, like that. I'd be,
All right,
I'd be
I just
drunk
thought
and
you
eating
just
loads of food.
going around eating ass, just like or nom nom nom.
Yeah, that's it. That's what'll kill me.
But what'll be bad is whenever you meet St. Peter at the gates, your breath will smell shit. It's gonna be a problem.
Got like the crumbs right
I know,
now.
and he's like, "Listen, go on. There's a wee friggin' lemony wipe. Go around the corner and fucking come back in 10 minutes."
But if you go up to the gates of heaven, you've still got your wee tear-stained eyes. He's going,
I know. He's like,
there's no fruits in heaven.
true, and then he's probably like, "Here, Barabbas coming. Fucking sort this guy out here. He's a fucking dickhead." And he's like, "Oh, you made it in, Barabbas. Good to see you, mate. Good to see you, bro. What happened to your hands?" Fucking. Yeah, I just cry all day and probably go for a walk by myself and then kill myself.
Why? You're
On the
gonna
walk.
die?
Yeah, because I wouldn't like my kids and all to be like building up the moment. Then I just die. I'd be like, "Right, see you later."
That's it. No.
I'd
I'd be making such a scene of it.
Yeah. Oh,
I'd live stream it.
I don't know. Well, maybe that's what I'll do. Go on Patreon or Twitch or something.
Yeah.
You know?
Patreon for the last ever episode, and your head just blows off at the end. Like Suicide Squad.
Why don't we do that? Just
Because you're not actually gonna die.
like
David.
we could be like, you know, what's that cult called? Is it not the Moonies or something? It's like the Heaven's Gate. You know the guy who's like looks like Shane Todd's dad.
Is that the Kool-Aid ones?
Yeah, and they all were
Jim Jones?
No, that Jim Jones is a different one. This other guy, he was the Heaven's Gate, and they all wore like Jordans. They all wore sweet purple Jordans and hoodies, and then they
I'm not aware of this.
oh no, Ben. Oh, you don't have the mic anymore because you came in. That's fine. Heaven's Gate. And let's see, the guy looks like Shane's dad. Where is he? There. So Heaven's Gate was, by the way, dope logo. Heaven's Gate was a religious group, for those of you that don't know. Often I love this. Heaven's Gate was a religious movement, often described as a cult, founded by and led by Bonnie Nettles and Marshall Applewhite, which, by the way, sound like characters that I would make up on prank phone calls. Let's see, so the mass suicide, they're always into doing that, like.
Aye.
Yeah, the group began renting a large home, which they called the monastery, and blah blah blah. Wore our Max and just asphyxiated themselves on drugs.
It's weird.
Nice, put plastic bags around their heads, and they wore black and white Nikes. Here,
It's weird that the Nikes were such a big part of it.
Oh,
They're
no.
yeah, you have to kill yourself, right? You do have to be wearing Nikes, though. What? You can't get into heaven without Nikes.
No, I mean, listen. At least they're looking dope. Because there you go. There's a here, mate. There you go. There's a fucking dead guy there in the Heaven's Gate cult. So they're all in their bed. So their things over. It's freaky, like.
See, if you're the police officer, right?
Yeah.
And you're investigating all that, you see all these sweet Air Jordans.
Yeah, you're stroking a few, like.
The
aren't
police
you?
report's
Yeah.
gonna be like they were all barefoot.
I know. Fucking couple of Barabbas and the friggin' San Diego cops.
It's me walking out with 40 pairs of Jordans and 10 cans of beer.
It's a Spider-Man suitcase. Don't know what's happening in there. Fucking hell. That's brilliant. Right, we'll rush through these. Dave McAllister said, "Would you rather have a great feed, Dave, or a great shag?" Love a podcast, mate.
That's a good question.
Oh, great feed.
I go
All
for a
day.
shag.
See, you still have seed left in you. Mate.
I'd not eat for a week and then go for
Yeah.
the shag.
Yeah, I mean, you could just combine both and eat ass. You know that. Yeah.
Eat her, cannibal style.
Yeah, I mean, there you go. Great idea. No, for me, a good feed, definitely, because you can live without having sex. You can't live without
No,
eating.
you can't live happily without having sex.
Oh, I mean, I'm married. You can. You find other ways to
My
pass the
case in
time.
point, ladies and gentlemen.
You find people. You find ways. Like, for example, sitting in a room, just the other guys just chatting shit like this.
Yeah.
You know, sex is good. I'll
Yeah.
have it.
Yeah,
I'll have it again.
Yeah,
I'm born.
this is better than sex, but we're
Yeah,
doing right now.
I'm a born again virgin. There'll come a day where I'll do it again. And the last question is for Lucy. Said, "Will the comedy club in Copeland be a regular thing or just a one-off?" It'll be regular, hopefully, and I think there's going to be a date again in December. So, thank you very much for everyone for listening to the podcast. If you haven't already, rate and review, do all that stuff. Check out Modest Beer, and you'll get some in your wee bag later. And thanks, Billy, for actually coming on time. You were on time. We're supposed to meet at 9 o'clock. It's now 20 to 10. That was my fault. We've run over. This episode's long, but we've had an impromptu guest. So thanks for coming on the podcast. Let's do some work. Ben, cheers. See you next week, guys.
I'm the sly guy.